The San Francisco 49ers suffered a tough loss in more ways than one in their matchup against the Bucs. They fell short to the Buccaneers. That's where the Bucs stopped. But the good news is that the 49ers are still top of the NFC West, and we're going to break everything down right here on the Wayne Breezie Show. Make sure you smash that like button and stick around.
So bright that we shine. All we know is the Niners. Ready go that is finest. So faithful to the bay. I be sipping gold bar whiskey on the rocks, and a 24 karat gold on a watch. My 7-1 Chevy be tipping nonstop, sounding like Trent Williams on the block. So you know we can't stop, we be banging through your speakers. Wayne Breezie on the field or in the bleachers. You can tune into my show and I'm a teacher. Wayne Breezie, the 4-9 preacher. We so bright that we shining.
What's going on, 49er faithful? Welcome to the Wayne Breezie Show. It's Monday. Got the Breezy Bunch crew in the building for sure. Everybody needs to wake that tail up, especially if you're out on the West Coast. On the East Coast, it's mid-afternoon, right? It's 1 hour after mid-afternoon, and we are here to do our daily show. 49ers, again, they took a L to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers in more ways than one. Like it was tough, right? Because you lose your best player like early in the game, and it's like, oh my gosh, they got to continue to play, and we got to continue to support them. This might have been the toughest supportive game that I've ever had to do. Like losing Nick Bosa was one thing, but I felt like the Niners could find ways to generate pressure, and they did. The defense played decent when Nick Bosa left. Losing Fred Warner, oh my gosh, gut-wrenching, gut-punching, tough, heartbreak, you name it. You name it. But we here for it. I'm here for it. I got you. This is what the show is all about, man. It's the therapy sessions of the San Francisco 49ers. I guess that's what you can call me. I'm the 49ers. Not only am I the 49er preacher, I'm the 49ers therapist. Welcome to the show. Shout out to the Breezy Bunch crew, man. They are in here early. I'm just going to give the air horns. We're going to do an early morning show. Shout out. Don't forget to smash that like button. Faithful, if this is your first time watching, go ahead, subscribe to the channel, all right? Subscribing to the channel is the best way you can help support me right here on this channel, just by clicking on the subscribe button. If this is your first time watching, hit that like button wherever you're watching. If it's on Twitter, if it's on Facebook, wherever, Twitch, wherever you're watching, just go ahead and like it. Share it too, man. That's another thing that we don't do. You can support the channel with the Cash Apps and the and as well as the Venmos and the PayPals if you want, or you can support the channel right here just by clicking on the join button, right? If you're watching on YouTube, click join, become a member of the Breezy Bunch crew, take advantage of all the cool perks like this one right here. All right, shout out to our sponsors over at residency.com. Use that promo code SFBreezy and you can save on your total purchase right now, man. And they got some crazy stuff going on, crazy sales going on over there as we speak. And for exclusive content, which you can get every week, especially during the season. I mean, the content ramps up. You're getting multiple shows right here on the Patreon. Go to www.patreon.com. And this is where the watch party is, the live watch party, where myself and the faithful, we get together and we congregate and we try to have a good time. This was a tough one, though. I'm not going to lie. That was a tough watch party to do. It was melancholy in there. Everybody was quiet, silent. It was more silence than I was silent. You know what I'm saying? It was crazy. So appreciate you guys, though. Shout out to my man once again. It's first in the building, too. Like, that's dope. All right, Miles, don't start acting up. 49ers throwback. Good morning, favor. Please hit that like button. You know what I'm saying? Appreciate you, man. Definitely. Don't bother me in the building as well. Boats, we got some trades to make. Oh, my gosh. Stick around for that because I got a question for you about trades. I'm glad you said that. Niner Faithful, moderator to the channel. Bucks are battered and bruised, too. We had a chance to steal the win, but Baker had two pivotal plays on the same drive. We lost the turnover battle. Yeah. Regardless of what happened, the Niners had an opportunity to at least win this game. They did. We'll talk about the opportunity. Oscar in the building. Good morning, favor. Hard to see the 49ers winning the chip this year without Bosa and Warner. Add Pirtle, Kittle, Ayuk, Jennings. Oh, man, Trent. We're going to talk about Trent Williams. A whole group of rooks and faulty lines. Geez, this is one Oscar loved the Avatar too, by the way. But this is a real post, real comment. Definitely kind of dig it. Right? I'm super optimistic, but it is harder. It's harder. Even for me being optimistic, it's definitely going to be harder. Now, the good news about some of the stuff you said in here, Oscar, is that the 49ers will potentially get back Purdy, Kittle, Ayuk. I'm not sure about the health of Juwan Jennings. He's pretty battered and bruised as well. And Trent, if Trent is old, then he's old. It is what it is. But yeah. So the good news is they'll get some players back. So, that's a good thing. 49er Jeff in the building, heartbroken, but still faithful. Yeah, man. You got to remain faithful, right? That's what my boys from Nothing But Niners, Mike came up with that mantra. Always remain faithful. Matthew, what up, faithful? I'm so bummed about our guy Fred, speedy recovery. We're going to talk about Fred Warner. We'll kick off the show with that and what his latest statement on Instagram. I have it. I'll read it out loud. Yeah, it's just like I said, getting through this game was a tough one. I'm not going to lie. Getting through the game was tough. I felt like the 49ers had opportunities to kind of still win the game. It just seemed like it didn't really get away from them until what Nigel put out there. And we'll talk about those couple of plays, particularly the one play on a 3rd and long, 3rd and 15, 3rd and 16, whatever. It was just what? That couldn't have happened. We couldn't, out of all the things we let happen in the game, that couldn't have happened. And turning the ball over didn't help either, but that couldn't have happened, right? You know what I mean? Oh my gosh, it was crazy. But yeah, man, more about Fred Warner. That I think we know that he's out for the season. But there's some bright spots to it as Wayne, Marty Martin, 49er Empire. Wayne, is it over? The nightmare. Well, this might be the first time Madden got it right. You know what I'm saying? Wasn't the score the same too? 30 to, what was the Madden score? Does anybody remember the Madden prediction score? I think it was 30 to 19. It'd be funny if it was that, right? That'd be really funny. I can't remember what it was, but it's pretty bad. It was pretty bad. Tanisha in the building. What's going on, Tanisha? I'm just trying to add this to the set so that I could bring it up and have it from when we're ready to talk about Fred. And I'll have it up here and I'll bring it up. Good morning. Today is sad, but it will be better. Hopefully what I read from Fred Warner will help make everybody cheer up a little bit. You know what I'm saying? Just hopefully. And we'll see what happens. But again, shout out to the Breezy Bunch crew. Thank you so much for being in here. I'll get to some of your comments a little bit later. Let's kick off the show with Fred because, this is what he wrote on his Instagram. He says, there's certain games you wake up knowing it's going to be your day. And yesterday was one of those days. He says, I knew I was about to go off. And then, boom, everything over in one instant. That was completely unpreventable. The love everyone has shown me and the prayers being had for me mean the world to me. Some ask why I was able to smile in the cart heading in, and it's because aside from the shock, I have complete peace in knowing God's plan is so completely perfect. And I'm exactly where I'm supposed to be. I had the privilege of being able to have a very healthy 8 seasons, and now it's time to inspire through the comeback I'm about to have. Oh. Can I read that line one more time, yo? Hold on. That's why I said, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, we sad. And I know, look, listen to this line one more time. He says, I've had the privilege of being, I'm going to try to read it like Fred. I had the privilege of being able to have a very healthy 8 seasons. And I know it's time to inspire through the comeback I'm about to have. It will be legendary and right on time, God willing. Thank you guys. Love always. Go Niners. Man, damn it, Fred. Who wrote that for you? Did the wifey write that? Because that is, woo, good God. That is That's what I'm talking about, dog. That's what I'm talking about. He said now he gets an opportunity to be inspired by this comeback that he's about to have, and he says it's going to be legendary. I'm look, we don't know the significance of the injury. We do know that he is apparently it's a broken bone in the ankle and dislocated and broken ankle. So I'm not a doctor, so I don't know exactly what it is, but they're gonna give us. Kyle Shanahan already spoke and said that like he's gonna have surgery and it'll be season ending. You know what I'm saying? I was hoping it was like a high ankle sprain. So I was hoping that my hope was that he would have been able to return this year. That was just my hope. And my hope is built on nothing less than Jesus' blood and righteousness. Like so my hope that was my hope on the season. Unfortunately, when Kyle said at the presser that he was gonna have surgery, you kind of knew that the season ending was over. But dislocated and broken ankle. Also in the game, I didn't even know that DeMarcus Robinson had an oblique injury, but he did return to the game. So we did see DeMarcus Robinson back out there, in this game. And so, I just thinking about another tough blow for the San Francisco 49ers. And there's a difference between being beat up, battered, and bruised. A lot of teams are going through, but when you're missing like your key core players, and if you go back to the early pre-shows of the season before the shows kicked off, once free agency hit, and we saw kind of like how the Niners were going to dwindle down and kind of like how they were going to shape their team this year. And we knew that they weren't going to be going super heavy veteran and they were going to rely on. Remember, I did a show. I was talking about the key pillars. You had the key pillar on the defensive line and Nick Bosa. And then you had the key pillar in the middle tier with Fred Warner. And then in the secondary was Deommodore Lenoir. And they made those three the key guys, three key captains, right? Those are all captains. The Niners are two captains less than they were at the beginning of this season. You lose Nick Bosa for the season. Now you're losing Fred Warner for the season. So it's going to be interesting coming down the stretch. And even with, quote unquote, this crazy, super easy schedule, I don't think that even matters. It's going to be rough and it's going to be tough for the San Francisco 49ers, just moving forward. I don't know. I'm not saying that I don't think we're gonna lose. Not saying we're gonna lose these games. It's just gonna be a lot harder because now you're asking to speed up the process of the plan. The plan was to go young, but you had your pillars. So now think about it. You lost two key pieces to the defensive side. And so, I think the question out there, is going to be, should the 49ers pursue help on the edge, and specifically, right? Because I still think generating pressure is tough. 9 pressures in this game, only 1 sack. It's tough. It's tough. Should they still pursue help on the edge after the Warner injury? I think if, trade deadline coming up in a couple of weeks, maybe 3 weeks, I believe to be exact, first week of November. That I do know. First Tuesday in November. So I don't know the date off the top of my head. Maybe November 2nd. I don't know, but I do know it's the first Tuesday in November. But I guess the question that I'm asking, and feel free to answer. I'm gonna pick out some of the answers out there from the chat live show. Shout out to all the listeners too on the podcast. That's on Spotify podcast as well as Apple Podcasts and wherever you're listening to it. Appreciate you guys. Would love for you to be on the live show if you ever got an opportunity to do so, because the podcast, the listening portion, isn't live. It gets uploaded. But should the 49ers pursue help on the edge after the Fred Warner injury? Now, if they do, this means that the Niners still believe that they have a shot to be all in on this season, because now you're not going to look at, you're not going to just replenish the edge with, I still think they're going to go after specific type of help, right? Guys that Robert Saleh's familiar with, guys that are on, maybe still their rookie deals, okay? We can get, they're still cheap underneath the cap, which means the Niners will have to cough up some capital, but they'll be here for at least, maybe a year or two, maybe, who knows? if they do that, that means that the Niners are still kind of like all in. If they don't do that, that means that the Niners are looking to do something a little bit different, which I wouldn't even be mad about. Shout out to X-Man, member of the Patreon, and was on that live. We were going in. Matter of fact, he told me he paid for me to not hold it back. So that's when I took off the cloak and the cape, and the real Breezy stood up. It was crazy. But he said this is the time to start developing our future stars. And so maybe the Niners do take this opportunity to say, hey, let's just go ahead and get these guys in here and let's just develop these guys, But you got to speed up the process of Mykel Williams. You're going to speed up the process of somebody, especially those top 100 guys, right? And for a guy that's been inactive every single week, and I know a lot of people saying, listen, he's been inactive because he's not able to grasp the concept of what to do on special teams, and that's why they're going to make him inactive because they need him to be available and be out there on special teams. Nick Martin, right? And now you get a season-ending injury to your guy wearing a green dot, and I'm going to give a huge shout-out to Tatum Bethune, who came in there. And I think stepping forward, Tatum Bethune, wasn't he a 7th-round draft pick? This guy, he had a missed tackle, but he was over the field. He's not Fred Warner, but man, I like what I saw from Tatum Bethune. And maybe as a starter in the practices and getting those reps, you know what I'm saying? I'm going to give him a round of applause. I thought Tatum Bethune stepped up and filled in the gap. You know what I mean? The Niners Nation. Says defensive end Jermaine Johnson, Quincy Williams from the Jets, best options in trade for us right now. I'm going to add one more player from the Jets in that. Jermaine Johnson, a little older. Quincy Williams, linebacker, because you talked about linebacker. Think about outside linebacker Will McDonald, defensive end. He's got another year or two on his contract, if I'm not mistaken. I would try to see if I could trade for that guy as well. It's a Robert Saleh guy. Saleh drafted him, and he can come in and be not just a spark, but definitely help out there on the edge. The Niners are still struggling to set the edge, and maybe it's because Mykel's being double teamed, and what do you want him to do in the double team moments? This is why the Nick Bosa situation hurts so much, right? Because Nick's was getting the doubles. You had him lined up on the inside. Bryce Huff was able to go off. Not really hearing Bryce Huff's name anymore, right? It's crazy how this stuff trickles out. And I want Robert Saleh to continue to surge, right? Like to be at the top of the league with his defense. And maybe this is just the time. You know what I mean? Maybe this is the time we let these guys develop. Oscar, I wouldn't trade for anyone unless this team turns it around. November 2nd is the date. Look, they're 4-2. The Niners will have to lose, literally, become 4-4, before I kind of make this type of decision. They beat Atlanta. They're 5-2. Yeah. 2 more. Yeah. If they end up at 500, maybe I'm like, bump the trade. Let's just let guys develop. They have time. But if they're above 500 and they're still dominant, especially out west, we already got a 3-game lead in the West. We play those guys once more. I think that would be the key goal, to win the West and to win it through this adversity. You know what I'm saying? So, I can't wait to see what happens, man. I'm not saying I wouldn't trade. But if they do make a splash in in the trade by the trade deadline, it's going to be, in my opinion, a player that they're most familiar with. I know a lot of people feel like, we need to go out and get Trey Hendrickson and those guys. Yeah, man, those guys are going to cost a lot, as far as capital, right? You could give up some stuff. Trey Hendrickson also suffered a back injury and didn't return to the game yesterday, so I don't even think that would be a guy that I'd be all in on. Sonia, what's going on? Bubbles out there as well. But look, it's something to definitely keep your eye on. Should the 49ers pursue, we are going to be stand pat and find out, right? I hate to be that guy, but how many more injuries can this team withstand? And you can't. I'm not blaming Kyle Shanahan. I'm not going to blame the training staff. I'm not going to blame. Like, I mean, we could throw blame. I'm not going to blame those guys. You know, the Fred Warner injury literally was just a freak injury. Like, Jair Brown literally on a play just rolled on the back of his leg, and pop, snap, crack, his ankle went. Like, it happens all the time, especially to linemen. And, you know, this was just one of those things. That's why Fred said it was meant to happen. Like, it was inevitable. Like, you know what I mean? It was inevitable. So we're going to see what happens, you know, moving forward. I wouldn't put a pause on the trade situation even after this injury, because I think the Niners will still be in contention, and they're gonna look pretty good. You look at the next slew of games; these are winnable games. You look at them; they're gonna be harder to win. And I think me personally, like, as much as I feel like the defense needs the help, it's really going to come down to the offense. The offense got to put up mother-freaking points, and that we're going to get into this recap. The offense got to figure out a way to put up more points. Right now, I'm just not feeling the offense. I'm feeling what we see from as far as explosive plays, but this offense identity is to throw the ball because they can't run. Literally, they can't run. And so, you know, just recapping the game in this loss lane, lose by 11, it was weird. It was weird because the energy of the game shifted when Fred Warner left the game. Obviously, that's what happened. Like, we know the energy changed, but it wasn't like detrimental to the team because the offense still was struggling to put the ball on the ground. And I get it. It was tough to run on this defense. I'm not going to lie. Like, Tampa Bay's run D is pretty good, but we've talked about that all week long. You can't really run on these guys. You got to get to the outside. And if you watch other football and you be like, damn, or if you watch this game, you're like, well, how was Sean Tucker able to get to the outside? Because he's fast. Plus they have a better offensive line. The Niners struggled in running the ball once again. I mean, you're talking about a team that didn't even have close to 100 yards on the ground. I mean, how many times are we going to do this? Like, 67 not going to get it done. Off of 22 carries, especially if Christian McCaffrey has 17 of those 22, it's just not going to get it done. It's just not going to get it done. The Niners, I don't know how they get their run identity back, but when you watch this game and you say, well, like, damn, like, Baker was Baker a better quarterback statistically? No, I didn't think so. I didn't think he was. I'm not trying to crap on Bake. Bake had a game. When Bake needed to bake a cake, he baked the hell out of that cake because he baked the Niners defense. He made all 11 players miss at least twice. I don't know how there was only 6 missed tackles in this game recorded, but I felt like on that one play, he made the whole defense miss. They had him for a sack. That might have been the worst defensive play I've seen in a long time. They had him. They just didn't wrap him up, and they didn't bring him down. And because of that, he started to scramble. That was the game shifter right there. The energy shift for the Niners when Fred Warner got hurt. It's almost like losing Dre Greenlaw. But you want to talk about a game where it really shifted the momentum? Go back to that Baker Mayfield play. Let me see if I can find it. The time and all that good stuff. Because that's the play, in my opinion. I'm like, wait a minute. How they didn't get this mofo showdown down to the ground? And how he rushed on the third down? I don't know what the Niners defense on these third and longs, man. Oh my gosh. Man. They make you feel, it was 3rd and 14. This mother freaker rushed for 15 yards. Like you can't make this up. And I know. We're talking about the defense without a Fred Warner out there. I understand that. It was in the third quarter. It was 3rd and 14. They had the ball on the 41-yard line. And you just think the Niners, they played the pass. He didn't throw the ball. The Niners defense secondary played the pass very well. What they forgot, though, was to attest that Baker will take off and run. Then they had them pressured up, concaved in. They did everything right except for the fundamentals of football on that play. They did everything right except for the fundamentals. Fundamentally meaning wrapping and tackling. Everything right. Everything right. Literally everything right. They played the pass well. They kept Baker the edge contained. They kept him in the pocket. Then Baker just made a play. He just made a play. And then on that same drive, I'm telling you, this is where the game really shifted and took a twist. On that same drive, Tez Johnson, the little small kid from Oregon, Bo Nick's brother. He's adopted brother. I told y'all about this kid. I specifically said on one of the shows on this channel that was a kid. Maybe I did the game plan and I said, don't forget about Tez Johnson. He's small, he's slippery, and he can get through the cracks. Man, he beat the whole secondary. Yeah, they were out of position. Yeah, they blew the coverage. Yeah, they miscommunicated. It didn't matter. 45-yard touchdown. Defense was the weakest link. Offense did what they needed to do to put up points. I'm going to give the offense credit because they definitely did what they needed to do to put up points. They only got to the red zone twice, and they went 50% in the red zone. I don't know what more you wanted on the road. I mean, we wanted touchdowns, but they only got to the red zone 2 times. And the second time they get to the red zone, Jawan Jennings gets the bum penalty, he gets the whistle call on the penalty, and it pushes him out, and then it makes everything that much more difficult, and whatever. So, look, just that's the recap of the game. If you want to know where the game took a twist, it was that. You know what I'm saying? And it is what it is. Oscar says, know how it was about Shanny and Salah. We'll see. All right. Well, we shall see. You know what I'm saying? We definitely shall see. But that drive in the third quarter, in my opinion, which gave them the 27-19 lead. And then I thought the team played almost exceptionally good enough because we were still only trailing by 8, and then you get the interception. You know what I'm saying? And it's just what it was. It's just what it was. I mean, special teams forced a missed field goal. Eddie Pinero was 4 for 4. I mean, like, what do you want? Like, I'm confused. It was just too much for them to overcome. This is the one week I feel like that the adversity just got the best of the San Francisco 49ers. Oh my gosh. Remember, Oscar, he got so much downplay because the kid weighed like 135 pounds soaking wet. And I was like, yeah, but he's been playing football all his life. And I'm exaggerating. He's probably like a 150 or maybe 160. So let's say 160. Kind of short, you know, and I get it. People had the red flags on him or whatever. But that was more, you know, he's kind of like the other kid that I liked that I think was 2 years before. What's the kid that played for Houston? He's hurt right now. He played for Houston. He got hurt. He got shot. Remember? Can't think of his name. He forgot where he went to college. Why do I feel like he went to Houston to college and then got drafted by the Texans? Can't think of his name. Wide receiver. But he's tiny. I feel like that's where Tez Johnson is. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's where Tank Dell. I could not remember his name to save my life. But almost same type of dynamic of a player. Has game speed, right? Not 40 speed. Tez Johnson fell in the draft because of his 40 speed. It was dumb slow. They were like, how's this guy running that slow? I was like, yeah, well, wait till you see him on the football field. He's uncoverable, you know? Anyway, I just said to say that the Niners, they just got caught slipping. They got caught slipping. And so when you get caught slipping, you're going to end up with, you know, you're going to end up with some losses. Now, let's talk about this one play because Kyle Shanahan had an opportunity, and I'm trying to find it, so bear with me, okay? It was 4th and 1. It was 5 minutes and 52 seconds in the fourth quarter. The Niners had the ball on, I believe, the 29, if I'm not mistaken. It was 4th and 1. And then you get the false start penalty. So now it's 4th and 5, right? So you move back a few yards. Still was in field goal range, 17 and 33. Sounds like it would have been a 50-yarder. He's been nailing 50-yarders all day. Should Kyle Shanahan, I want to get y'all thoughts on this. Should Kyle Shanahan had taken the 3 points? Got caught slipping and sleeping. How about that? Should Kyle Shanahan had taken the 3 points? Now, my man Drew over on Facebook says should have kicked the field goal. All right. And I want to get everybody's thoughts. You could just put it in here. Member, non-member. I don't care. I want to see where you guys are thinking with this. I have my take on it, and I totally get it. But you had the false start on Dominic Pony, and I'm curious to know if you guys are upset with Kyle Shanahan. So the question is, should Kyle Shanahan have taken the 3 points instead of going for it on 4th down? He was already going for it on 4th down. I'm still mad at the quarterback sneak on 3rd down. That was the right play. It was the worst executed quarterback sneak I've ever seen. If you want to say and give credit to Tampa Bay's defense, okay, cool. But then you get another opportunity to run it again, and then you get the false start from Dominic Pony, and that's kind of where things kind of got shifted a little bit. You know what I'm saying? Oscar says, always take the points. Jamaro says it wouldn't have mattered. Niners Nation, I don't think it would matter. Breezy, we haven't stopped the Bucs offense since Fred went down. Okay, now you're starting to get into my lane. All right. I was hoping y'all wasn't gonna be in my lane, but y'all in my lane. People say Kyle needs to be aggressive, but then when he does, they say take the points. Which one is it? Hey, we speaking right now. Niner just says go for it. He was trying to change the momentum. Hey, I like this take. Sonia says again, the defense went dumb. How about can we? I don't want to say the defense went dumb because they definitely did. Can I change your D? Now, Sonya, you can absolutely say no. Can I change the D to N? The defense went numb 100% when Fred went out. He controls the whole defense, but that's why dumb works too. He controls the whole defense. Someone needs to step up, be a leader. Sonya, I'm gonna be honest with you. I don't think anybody can. That Fred Warner put 8 years into that shit. Like that's 8 years of school, film, preparation. Like the dude, it's like it's all right. This is Fred Warner's equivalent to, in my opinion, Fred Warner is equivalent to Peyton Manning as a quarterback. And what I mean by that is, because I know people go like, what? No, Peyton used to understand. Peyton knew every defense. Dude get up to the line and be like, Omaha, Nebraska, Wyoming, check 1644, because he just knew every defensive scheme. Look, you couldn't trick him. I felt like Fred was on that level, just on the opposite side. He knew where to be. He knew where to put people. He knew where to go. He knew what depth to play. Like, that's 8 years of that. To have somebody do that, it's almost impossible. Yeah, I agree with you. Players got to step up, but I don't think anyone is as, I don't want to say smart. I don't think anyone's as seasoned to understand what Fred is really doing out there. You got guys that could play Mike linebacker, but Fred was a Mike safety linebacker, DB, defensive lineman. He was one of a kind. So that was almost impossible. Yeah, I agree though. These players got to figure it out. You know what I mean? They definitely got to figure it out. In that. And so I'm glad you said that. Shout out to PG. She's on here as well. Don't forget to become a member of the Breezy Bunch crew. It's in the chat. Mick and me. This is what happens when the front office decides not to address the old line the past 6 years. Yeah. I can't argue with that. I mean, I just can't. Oscar, how many effing times do we have to run up the middle on second and long to be stuffed? Yo, the middle would work if Vita Vea wasn't out there. I'm going to say that. But Vita was out there. It just didn't work. But my take on this is that you guys said all the answers, right? You know, some of you said we should have just taken the points. If we would have taken the points right there, I mean, I think Kyle already had not lost faith in Robert Saleh. It was more kind of like to save the face of the players. And so he was being aggressive. And I think Nigel hit the nail on the head. It's like, do we want Kyle to be aggressive or do we want Kyle to not be aggressive? Because when we get the aggressive Kyle and it works, we're like, yeah, Kyle's aggressive. But when it doesn't work, oh, Kyle should have did this, Kyle should have did that. And I get the hindsight if he should have taken the points. But you're talking about a defense that couldn't stop a motherfucking nosebleed. Literally. Like, it was almost like the defense was going to have to go back out there regardless. So I might as well get my offense. Might be the last opportunity we get. Did anybody pay attention to the clock, too? It was 5 minutes, right? And had we got that, had we got the first down and got points, man, the clock would have just kept dwindling down and down and down. And so if we would have gotten, even kicked the field goal later, which we wouldn't have done, but if we scored it, the goal on that drive was to score a touchdown. Again, 5 minutes and 52 seconds. 5 minutes and 52 seconds. And I think hindsight is, well, damn, Mac threw the interception right after that, right? You can't make this stuff up. All you can do is laugh. That was on Mac. He pushed the ball to a spot, whether he was confused or not by the coverage. He had a wide open guy underneath that whole route that was right there at the sticks. I mean, why not just get the first down and move on to the next play? I don't know. A lot of mistakes were made in this game that I can't question. But he's a backup quarterback, still learning the system. And he probably saw defenses that he didn't even see. And even on the first interception of the game, that should have been a pick six, but God was like, I'm going to make you fall twice. Right? That should have been a pick six. That was a pick six throw. Dude knew the play, jumped the route, boom, 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 threw it right to him. Even on that play where like Kendrick Bourne took, accountability for it, I'm like, I don't know. I don't know if that was on Kendrick Bourne. Like, I don't know if that was on Bourne. The pressure was there. The route was hot. And Kendrick was cutting inside on a whip route. And the ball was thrown outside. So, it's weird. That's a weird one. But Bourne said that was on him. So, I whatever. And I was cool with it. I was cool. Bourne took accountability for that. But then Mac did the same shit at the end of the game. Same thing to the opposite side of the field. I don't know if it was on the wide receiver that time. I don't know if it was on the wide receiver the first time. I think Mac just got to read the defense. And I think that was one of the defense's top bowls. They confused him, in my opinion. Tom just was what? Bro, when I say this cat was what? Matter of fact, when the ball was thrown, I was like, first down. Whoa, went over his head. That was my take. I was like, what? What? It was right there. He just read the wrong route. And he had a little bit more time to even let that play develop. So you had a route develop underneath, and then the Juwan Jennings was double coverage. You throwing in double coverage. Look, Jamal Dean on the defensive side was the X factor, because if you want to know who got the fumble, was Jamal Dean on a cornerback blitz. If you want to know who got the last interception, it was Jamal Dean. Like, what a gift they got back who didn't play the week before. What a gift. One guy. He made that much of a difference on the defensive side. It is what it is, man. The Niners moving forward, I'm expecting them to get better offensively. I will say that. I'm expecting them to get better offensively. That's just my opinion. What's going on, Miss Sin? Offensively, I'm expecting them to get better because they're getting guys back. And so I'm expecting that. You know what I'm saying? Miss Sin says, when is Brock coming back? Because at least Brock can scramble. Yeah, right? Right? So that's one of the biggest differences between Brock and Mac. And I thought Mac had opportunities to scramble, and he was just too hurt. I mean, even on the one run that he had, where I think he got 7, 8, 9 yards, I mean, did you see how he pulled up from, like he was in pain? Like, no doubt. I think all the players are in pain, but that's when I knew, oh, he can't run the ball. That's a problem. But then I'm just sitting here watching him take sack after sack. Offensive line in this game gave up 5 sacks. You know what? I take that back. I did my homework. The offensive line in this game gave up 3 sacks. I did my homework. Offensive line gave up 3 sacks. So, and it wasn't great. It wasn't a great outing, for the offensive line. However you want to look at it. That's why the person on here said Kyle needs to address the O-line. I'm not even gonna fight with that. Like, at this point, man, I don't know what the hell Kyle Shanahan and his offensive line schematic situation is. I don't know what he's thinking when they're out there when it comes to the O-line, but clearly it is what it is when it comes to the offensive line. Offensive line gave up 3 sacks. You can check my Twitter for the information, but Christian McCaffrey gave up a sack. I believe Luke Farrell gave up a sack. So you had sacks given up, running back, tight end. So 5 total sacks on this young fella, Mac Jones. The crazy thing is he was only hit once. So 5 sacks, but 1 quarterback hit. So I kind of like that. Like, right? I mean, he wasn't beat up like he was in the game before. He did get sacked, but, whatever. But he wasn't hit like he was like 9 times in the week prior. So they did get better in that sense. But the offensive line, they had a tough defensive front to deal with, man. I really thought it was tough from the jump. That's why the Niners, they have to figure out how they're going to run the ball. Like, they have to figure out how to run the ball. I mean, without running the ball, it's going to be tough moving forward. It's going to be tough moving forward. We got a question from Lindsay and Richard Gooden. Is Purdy going to start the next game? So, I mean, that's the hope. I think you just stay locked in here because it's going to come down to if he practices. Now, if Purdy is limited at practice, then I would say he's going to play in the game because Mac Jones got beat up. Mac Jones is hurt. Let's just call it a buck. Like, Mac Jones is hurt. Keep it a buck. Mac Jones is still hurting. You know what I'm saying? So we shall see. But I'm hoping it'll be available. I'm hoping we get back George Kittle too, because I really think it can help the run game big time. Thanks for watching on Facebook too, by the way. You know what I'm saying? Now, I don't think that the Falcons' defensive front is as great as Tampa Bay's when it comes to stopping the run, but they got the pass rush. And they spent capital on that pass rush. Like, they drafted a pass rush. So they got players. So don't get it twisted. We're going to break that stuff down. Wednesday night right here, 9 p.m. Eastern time, Nitty Gritty Niners. Going to preview the game, talk about their ferocious pass rush, see how many sacks they rocking with. But Atlanta's going to be different. Like, that's going to be a different monster. And the Niners just got to figure out how to protect their QB a little bit differently. And I know I see a comment out there. Listen, there's a difference when the Niners' offensive line is built for mobility. It's built to have a quarter. It's not built to sustain pressure for a long period of time. Most offensive lines aren't. The Niners' offensive line, like, when you look at the way that they even crafted their players, those players are agile, quick, right? They're not the big, thick offensive linemen that we're used to seeing over the times of our 49ers, fanship here. Like, they're not even built that way. They're built to get quick out on the outside zone running and things like that. The Niners been having to make makeshifts and add additional pieces to the offensive line just because of injuries and things like that. I mean, they got lucky when they traded for Trent, but according to everybody out here, like, Trent is just not Trent Williams anymore. So it's possible Father Time is catching up for Trent Williams, and how much longer is he going to want to play? We just saw a player from the Zadarius Smith from the Eagles that signed a 1-year deal with them after training. He just said, bump it, I'm done, I'm retiring. Like, it happens. Like, I wouldn't put it past. I'm not saying Trent doesn't have the love for football anymore, but is this season going to be a wash? Because that can affect his decision. Like, man, I'm going out there, I'm doing this, whatever. And now you're talking about having him come back 1 more year. I don't know. It's going to be rough. But for, Brock Purdy and the 49ers offensively, I do believe they're going to be getting some key cogs back to the wheel, and we'll see how that pans out. I got your grades per Bleacher Report right here down below, everybody. And as you can see, I mean, highest grade offensively, and you know me, I'm an 80s, 90s guy, and if you don't make it into that range, you got work to do. It's just the teacher in me. Colton McKivitz, 81.8. Highest offensive grade for the San Francisco 49ers was Cohen McKivitz, 81.8. He had 82 run blocking grade and a 76 pass blocking grade. So he was pretty efficient in run blocking and pass pro in this game. And then your bottom offensive grade, I'll do the top and the bottom, right? Jake Brendel. All right, Brendel. 69 snaps he played in the game, finished with a 51.5. And I know people out there are like, when does Jake Brendel get mother replaced? Like, he's got to go. You know, I don't know what Kyle Shanahan and the center exchange is going on with the 49ers. For some reason, Jake Brendel is just the guy that's going to play center. That means for Jake Brendel, this is my theory and thought too, for Jake Brendel to remain center of the 49ers, there was one particular play in this game. Christian McCaffrey had a run, and Jake Brendel just didn't block. I've seen it multiple times this season, but on that particular play, I think it was Christian McCaffrey. On that particular play, I'm like, bro, it might have been a wide receiver. He was downfield. How are you not even trying to engage in the block? I scratch my head every single time. And I know he might not be the worst graded center in the league or whatever. I don't give a I know what I'm seeing on the football film, and he is asinine. Like, he is asinine. Like, he's not good. And to be fair, Kyle's offense runs when this team has a specific type of center. Like, specific, right? Specific type of center. That's when this team is great. And I think about the centers, and I feel like we can only name one because the other one was hurt. We'll never know how Weston Richburg was going to be for this team. But damn it, when they made the trade, or was it trade or free agency, when they got the center from Atlanta, from the Falcons, I was like, yeah, that's the 49ers offense right there. Ever since then, we've been playing this makeshift game with the center. It's so crazy. Alex Mack is the guy. And ever since then, it's just been, Brendo, he's serviceable, he's cheap, we can get him in here, he can hike the ball. Right? You don't really have any problems with the center to quarterback exchange. No problems. But damn, like I said, Richburg injured, didn't get any of him. Probably would have been the best center the Niners had. Maybe he'll still be playing to this season. Who knows? That was the guy Kyle Shanahan definitely spent money on in free agency. I remember that specific type. And I think we have to just sit there and just fall back and just be like, yo, this is who we got. Like, it is what it is. But Matt Hennessy must be that bad to not beat out Jake Brendel. He must be that bad to not beat out Jake Brendel. I'll leave it at that. Matt Hennessy must be that bad to not beat out Jake Brendel. PG says, I still wish we had went after the center from Atlanta. Yeah, it's funny. I haven't even heard his name this year. Didn't he go to Chicago? Where did he go? Can't remember where he went. I feel like he went to Chicago. I know who you're talking about, though, PG. Yeah. Yep, that was him. Fumbled the snap in preseason. That was him. So, the offensive line is patchwork. I mean, you got a rookie out there, and Connor Colby just trying to get in where he could fit in. You got the decline of Dominic Pooney. Like, he's just reverted to this not good offensive lineman. And if I really told you where the Niners are struggling, it's in the interior. I know that the outside guys are giving up sacks and pressures and stuff like that, but it starts at the inside. The inside isn't doing much. It isn't doing much. And how did this all begin? The injury to Ben Barch. Like, literally. The offensive line has zero continuity. It's every man for themselves out there. You cannot play on the offensive line playing every man for themselves. That's why you're seeing a lot of the mistakes. That's why you're seeing the downplay. It's just they have to get back to that word continuity. They have to go out. They have to go to the movies. They have to go roller skating, whatever. They got to do something to get in sync, because until this offensive line is in sync, it's going to be this way, and it might even get worse. It might even get worse. Now, the difference between Mac Jones and Brock Purdy is not that Brock Purdy is a scrambling quarterback. It's the fact that he has the ability to play off schedule. What's wrong with that? What's wrong with a quarterback playing off schedule and being able to make a play? I'm sorry. Steve Young was that. That was Steve Young. He was the best off-schedule quarterback we've ever seen. And now you enter the conversation, Patrick Mahomes, the best off-schedule quarterback we've ever seen. Sure, these guys can stand and throw in the pocket if their offensive lineman is giving them 5 to 6 seconds to throw the ball for a play to develop. But that ain't how it is. And on most offensive line, not giving that much time for their quarterback. Not everybody in this game, every quarterback in this league got to be able to throw an off-schedule throw once the pocket breakdown. It comes down to quarterbacks and their pocket awareness. And Mick Lombardi has a lot of mother freaking work to do. Like, we're not even talking about how much we miss Greasy, but I am. Because I think Greasy just had a better grip on what he saw out there as a quarterback's coach from his time when he played and his connection to these quarterbacks. People forget he's not the QB coach anymore. He left the game. Mick Lombardi is now the QB coach, and we're just seeing a different vibe from the quarterbacks. A lot more, what's the word? I don't know. They just don't look comfortable out there. And it's not just because of the offensive line. Not just because of the offensive line. So we'll see what happens moving forward. A lot of people saying Pooney got worse because he came into the season with an injury. And that's fine, but then let's just use that whole, if players are bad because of injuries, then you got to cut everybody slack. That means Juwan Jennings gets cut slack because he's playing with broken ribs. And speaking of Juwan Jennings, we got to have the conversation about Juwan Jennings. Juwan Jennings, Jennings versus Shanahan is the thing, like, right? That's the how you spell Shannon? Shanahan, right? I guess I spelled it right. So Jennings versus Shanahan is a thing. Apparently, off the sideline, these two were going at it for multiple plays, blah, 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 blah. I mean, Juwan Jennings was just like really a shell of himself out there. He just didn't look like the Juwan Jennings we know. Now, to be fair, prior to this verbal whatever, all we heard was them talk bad about Juwan Jennings. Well, I want to know what the Kyle Shanahan said. I'm curious to know. And I don't care if you're a head coach. There's still a certain way you talk to players. Like, you wouldn't let your boss talk to you any kind of motherfucking way. And if you did, I guarantee you'll be leaving that job, or you just a fucking sucker. Like, I'm just going to call it like it is. But I'm curious to know what Kyle said. You know what I'm saying? And if you're in favor of Kyle on this, fine. That's your prerogative. If you're in favor of Juwan Jennings, fine. For me, it's more like, well, clearly we know what Jennings was saying, or we don't even know what Jennings was saying. We just hear that he was barking back. Well, what was Kyle barking? That's my point. That's my question. Because I'm sure Kyle wasn't saying anything nice to Juwan Jennings. Hey, man, why don't you go out there and catch that ball? Will really help us out. I guarantee you it wasn't that. I guarantee you it was more like, bro, catch the fucking ball. Now, Jennings didn't have one target prior to this. His target didn't come until damn near the third quarter in this game. So I'm curious to know if it was that. Was it the fact? Was he not great in blocking? And then, Jennings didn't help himself because the dude ends up getting a penalty in the red zone, which forces the 49ers a 10-yard offensive pass interference penalty. And then it takes the Niners out of scoring for a touchdown. They have to settle for a field goal. But my point is, like, he's injured. So we're going to talk about Pooney declining because of injury, then maybe Jennings is declining because of his injury, and maybe Trent Williams is declining because he had an injury. So I don't know. Like, it is what it is. People saying he went full diva. Cool. That's what you think. I mean, I guess that's the wide receiver thing. You know what I mean? Whatever. Maybe wide receivers are the only players allowed to go divas. or what we categorize as diva. I don't know. But what did he do that was diva-ish? Because I'm still confused on what Jennings did other than was going back and forth with the head coach, and we still don't know what was said. Now, Jennings did speak during the post game, and he talked about injuries and him being injured and other players being injured, and they're all battling through things and things like that. And Trent Williams came out and said what he said, that everybody's dealing with some type of an injury for sure. But you gotta get the ball to Jauan Jennings. The dude had 3 targets. Let me just see if he had a drop in this game, because that will help us out, right? We'll know. All right, how many drops did we have in this game? And this again is per PFF. 1 drop. And who got the drop? Who do you think got the drop? Was it Jauan Jennings? No. It wasn't Jauan Jennings. It was DeMarcus Robinson. The one play I said, oh, he got to catch that pass. I made sure I tweeted that out. But then on the next 2 plays, he caught another bomb. Like, you know what I'm saying? So he redeemed himself. But 3 targets, 1 reception, and Jennings is this mask guy. Like, he's just like, damn, like, dude been fighting to come back from an injury. I think Niner fans just don't like when the players are injured. That's, I guess. And man, I don't see nobody talking shit about Brock Purdy. He was fucking terrible. Pardon my French. Throwing them high-ass passes a couple weeks ago. I don't see the shit talking about Purdy, though. He was assing. He was bad. Sure was. Turned the ball over a few times, too, if I can recall. Didn't look good. Oh, he had a toe injury. Oh, he gets a pass. Okay. So we give him passes. I just want to make sure I'm clear. We give him passes, okay? And we're not, okay, so we give him passes to the players that we want to give passes to. I got it. So Purdy gets the hall pass. Jauan Jennings doesn't get a hall pass for a guy that is going out there sacrificing his body to block. But when he does catch those high hospital fucking balls, it's all good. Matter of fact, in that Jaguars game, he got up from a hospital ball. Oh, I remember. But he caught the touchdown. Y'all was on his. Never mind. Let me stop. Why do I always defend players? Let me stop defending these players. They don't pay me to defend them. I just see it in a different light than everybody else. You know what I mean? Maybe it's just me. Anyway, no. We lit his ass up. I'm talking about the Gen Pop. Purdy got a pass. Let's keep it a buck. They talked about his toe. Purdy got passes. It's about 5 people, 6 people in this chat that I know wasn't giving Purdy no pass. I can call them out. You know what I'm saying? So it is what it is. Now, Big Daddy says JJ is a liar. Can have 5 broken ribs and your hand in the air. Putting on a backpack. Having broken ribs. I mean, how can we call a person a liar? Like, I don't know. Like, we saying he a liar because he said he had broken ribs? Really? I don't know. If the man said his ribs were broke, then maybe his ribs were broke. But like, we don't know. How do we not know that? You know, I respect everybody out here and they takes, but it is y'all be funny. Just because he put on a backpack, now his ribs aren't broke. Maybe he just can mask the pain of broken ribs. I watched a lot of the 49ers. I watched Mac Jones mask the pain of oblique injuries. He didn't grimace one time, but I guarantee you he was hurting. Guarantee it. The only time I saw him grimace was on that run, actually. But every sack, he popped right back up. It's all good. Jerry, what's going on? He says, Breezy, I'm pissed at JJ because of what he put the team through during the offseason. Understood. Maybe that's the diva stuff y'all were talking about. It's got to be a wide receiver thing, though. Like, it's got to be a wide receiver thing. I don't think any other position does the diva stuff than wide receivers. You know what I'm saying? Matt, leave me alone. Leave me alone. I don't say that all players fake injuries, but some of this stuff be funny, right? Like the timing of these injuries, it's got to be a book of injuries that be like, listen, you're going to go down with this injury at this time on this Sunday or Thursday or Monday. Like, it'd be weird, like, right? Nah, I'll just be having fun with it. Matthew says, if he said his ribs are broken, the way the F is he arguing about not getting the ball, go sit down. I'm just saying, like, the dude's out there playing, right? Players play through injuries. You might not play through broken rib injuries, but you not him. And he damn sure not you. So receivers want the ball. And name one wide receiver that don't want the ball. So you mean to tell me, as a wide receiver with broken ribs, you can't throw me the ball because my ribs are broke, but you want me to block? Make that shit make sense. Come on, let's have a conversation. It's a great show. Make it make sense. I'm talking about for any wide receiver. Make it make sense. You don't want to throw me the ball because my ribs hurt, but I can block. I gotta block. Gotta block to get the rock. That's a Kyle Shanahan thing. Whether he lying about 5 ribs, 1 rib, 2 ribs, 0 ribs, I don't really give a fuck. Like, at this point, throwing the ball. Usually when you throw him the ball, you have success. Oh, I know, because everybody's screaming, third to Jawan, Jennings. Oh my God. Then you're throwing the ball 3 times, only 1 reception, and now he's the worst player. Now we got to fire him, trade him, cut him. He's a diva because what he put the team through. I mean, he was putting the team through injury shit. Like, this wasn't diva stuff, right, though, guys? Like, he didn't remove his stuff from Facebook and Instagram. The dude literally was dealing with injuries. I don't know. It's all love, man. These players, I will say that these players are out there and they are going and they're trying to give 100% every freaking, I just hate that us as the fans, we turn on them the moment they're not at 100%. It's just not realistic to me. It just doesn't make any sense. I think that's what makes me so argumentative about it. Now look, Kyle Shanahan's got to figure out Kyle Shanahan's goal right now is to make sure that his team stay locked in. Because if he loses the locker room, it's a wrap. That you can get in anybody you want here, but I don't want Kyle Shanahan to lose the locker room. Because if he loses the locker room, it is over. I can tell you right now. Now, listen, I'm going to be presenting the good, the bad, and the ugly as a clip, as a YouTube short video. So make sure you guys check that out at some point today, because there's a lot of bad in this game that I definitely want to go through from the 49ers. To leave on a bright spot, okay, to leave this game on a bright spot, the Niners, with a little bit of help, the Niners are 4-2. And so what does that mean? That means that they're still first place in their division. And they got time before they play those teams again, right? And so, some time, not a lot of time. And we'll see how that pans out. I think we just got to fall back and just take it 1 week at a time. You know what I mean? And let's see who we get back this week, because we're going to get reinforcements back. Yes, it sucks to lose Fred Warner. Yes, it sucked to lose Nick Bosa. Yeah, it'll suck to lose anybody else on this team, especially for the season. At the beginning of the season, it was like, oh, we're just getting injuries, but thank God they're not season ending, and now they're season ending. The Niners are 4-2. Despite all of the adversity that they've been through, all the Niners got to do is keep figuring out ways to keep persevering week in and week out. They get to return home to face the Atlanta Falcons. We are all, you, me, you, and you, and you. We are going to be locked in on this game tonight against the Bills, aren't we? Right. I know we are, because I know who we are. This is our opponent. We got to play these cats, right? We're going to be locked in, and we're going to see. Now, look, we got to stop Bijan Robinson. I think everybody right there is going to be like, what? Yeah, and they got weapons. They do. They got weapons. I'd be damned if Kyle Pitts go off on the 49ers again. Like, that's the only team he's able to go off on. And if I'm their coordinator, whatever, I'm picking on the safeties. I'm picking on them every single week until the safeties can prove that they can stop a mother freaking tight end. But let's see how well they play tonight, and then we'll start game planning for the Atlanta Falcons. But at the end of the day, the Niners are 4-2. They're leading their division. They're still top of the conference. The Lions lost as well. Okay, so you got a lot of 4-2 teams right now that are competing for that number one spot. Right now, Tampa Bay is in first place, and I'm going to tip my hat and give them a round of applause. They went out there and they took care of first place. They secured it for a week. Got to give them props. Definitely show them love. I'm definitely not a hater right here. I thought they were the better team, and they executed when they needed to have executed. If the Niners would have executed, because the Niners had opportunities, and if the Niners would have took advantage of the opportunities that they had, even losing the turnover battle, and executed, the Niners, we could easily be saying that we're 5-1. Right? And so it is what it is, even with the injury to Fred Warner. Keep Fred and his family in your prayers, as well as Bosa and all the other injured 49ers, man. Just keep these guys in your prayers. It's cool that we critique them. We talk about them. We have fun. We do all that stuff. But it's cool. And the bright spot on the 49ers offense, I didn't talk about him all show. Kendrick Bourne, second game, back-to-back games with 142 yards. Round of applause to Kendrick Bourne. Now look, I promise you don't gotta be, you could be whoever it is you want to be. You could be optimistic, you could be pessimistic. You don't have to be positive. You could be whatever. That's what this is for. I think my spin on everything is just to give everybody an opportunity to kind of like voice their voice and get their takes off. And I'm trying to find the optimism in it, because it just doesn't look good for the future. The near future, right now future, like the present future of the 49ers. I think it's going to be more bumps, more stumps, a lot of more close games. And Robert Saleh is going to have to put on his thinking cap, because now it's time to let the youngins cook. And they're going to have to go, into that frying pan, into the fryer. Like they gotta jump in. It's their time. Maybe we get Nick Martin. Who knows? I'm sure the Niners will probably make some type of splash by the trade deadline. Who knows who that's going to be for? But until then, stay locked in right here on the Wayne Breezie channel. Thank y'all so much for being a part of the Wayne Breezie Show. Once more time, shout out to all the members of the Breezie freaking bunch crew. I love y'all 1,000%. It's pure love. All right, and we'll be back, man. We will be back. Don't forget to make sure you subscribe to the channel here, so that way you stay up to date on all of the football shows that we have going on right here on the Wayne Breezie channel. Thank y'all so much. Till next time, peace out. Keep it faithful to the Bay. What's up, faithful? Thanks for watching. Hit that like button. Don't forget to subscribe, and make sure you check out some of the other cool videos.